Good morning, my beautiful friends. This is your wake up call with Maui Paul. I am Maui Paul. We are here today to say some nice things about ourselves. And I have quite the group gathered today. It is wonderful to see all you guys here. Good morning, Janet and Shauna. Good morning, Lauren and Frank and Dan. It is wonderful to see you guys here today. Thank you guys so much for being here, as well as to everybody else who is currently watching but not yet left a comment. I love you guys, and I appreciate you being here to watch this broadcast. And indeed, we are here to say some nice things about ourselves, and we're going to be doing it with my I Am deck. This deck is full of positive affirmations, beautiful, wonderful things that we can use or that we can say in order to rewire the way that we think, in order to allow ourselves to reach for better thoughts whenever something comes along that threatens to take away our peace. And so, so I'm going to pull a card off the top of the deck. I'm going to ask you if you are the affirmation on the card, and we're going to respond out loud together. I am that affirmation. Let's put that vibration out into the universe. Let's put those words, those sounds. Let's give ourselves the gift of allowing ourselves to hear ourselves speak. These exercises are so much more powerful when we say them out loud, when we write them down, when we really embody these affirmations. So let's have some fun today and pull a card and say that today I am caring. I am caring. My presence leaves a positive impression. So I am caring. My presence leaves a positive impression. Are you caring? You are caring. Your presence leaves a positive impression. And I'm going to write that down in the chat. I'm going to write down that I am caring and that my presence leaves a positive impression. Question is, can anybody even hear me? I just noticed that my microphone was muted. Have I just been speaking? Have I just been speaking to the nothingness? All right, good morning, everybody. Now that my microphone is actually not muted anymore, good morning. This is your wake-up call with Maui Paul. I am Maui Paul, and we are here today to say some nice things about ourselves. Now, the fact of the matter is, y'all already know how this game is played, so even though there was no audio, Shauna says that some people can hear me. Okay, good. I'm so happy about that. I noticed that my microphone looked like it was muted, so I'm glad that y'all can hear me. I am caring. You are caring too. Our presence leaves a positive impression, and I've written that down in the comments, and you guys have all beat me to it as usual. But we are caring people, and we make it our business to ensure that whenever somebody is hurting, whenever somebody's in pain, whenever it is that we're having a problem, that we are dedicated to really helping them get through it, whatever it is. I know that I have suffered plenty in this life, and I'm sure that you guys have as well, because nobody gets through life without having some pain. And it is not necessarily the pain, because the pain itself just tempers us, but rather it's the people that we surround ourselves with that allow us to get through it. That whenever that we're having a problem, it's the people around us who help us to get through that problem and to really be that shoulder to cry on, be that person that we can talk to. Oftentimes, it is just our presence. Caring is not always necessarily a verb. It oftentimes is really just us being there. How many times have you been around somebody and really they just needed you to be there? They didn't need your solutions. They didn't need for you to tell them how to solve their problem. They didn't need you to pontificate on how their own choices had got them there. They just needed a hug. They just needed a touch. They just needed a person to be present there. A person to be present and to just be with them when they were going through what they were going through. And that's what caring is all about. And so our presence leaves a positive impression. And I am tremendously blessed because I'm surrounded by people whose presence leaves a positive impression in my life. I can't hardly think about the last time that I've gone and hung out with somebody or seen somebody and thought to myself, man, I don't want to do that again. That person drained me. I can't even think about the last time that happened because it's happened so infrequently recently. And that is because I have chosen the people that I surround myself with wisely. And you are in that group. You are people who build me up simply by being there for me. When I'm having a great day, my friends celebrate with me into my great day. When I'm having a day that I wish could go better, the people who are around me are a resource for me to be able to really get myself into a more positive space. In in general, the folks around me will will typically just be there for me and leave a positive impression on me. And so I am caring, and you are caring too. And you care for me, and I know that you do. And you can know that you do as well. So as we go through our day, there are going to be people around us who are hurting. There are going to be people around us who are struggling. There are going to be people around us who have problems that they don't want us to know anything about. And yet, they still need somebody to just be there for them, to love on them, to treat them like the human being that they are, and recognize that all of us hurt sometimes. And that when we do, the people around us who care about us and who leave a positive impression on us, that these are some of the greatest gifts in the world when people give them of themselves. So this card is our litmus test today. It's our touchstone. This card is our permission slip to care about the people around us, to exercise that empathy, to exercise our perception as we just consider that the people around us are sometimes having a really bad day. And when they are, that sometimes all that they need is our presence. They don't need our solutions. They don't need our advice. If I want advice from somebody, I will ask them for that advice. I can't stand unsolicited advice. Then sometimes I really just need to vent to somebody and have them be like, "Wow, that really stinks. I'm sorry that you've had that day. Here, have a hug." And oftentimes that's really all that we really need. I remember that back when I worked on Maui, I was really fantastic at de-escalating angry customers. So I worked for a fudge company out there. We sold fudge and other candy and treats, and we had this one fudge. It was a white chocolate toffee, by far our biggest non-fudge seller. And the thing about this toffee is that toffee and fudge in general, like toffee and fudge both, they don't exactly keep very well in the humidity of Maui. And so this stuff had an incredibly short shelf life. So one day I'm working behind the counter, and this guy comes in and he is screaming. From the moment that he walks in, he is yelling. He's yelling so loud that the whole store clears out, of course, and I cleared out too, except I was working in the store. And he throws this nasty, gross looking you know, he throws this nasty, gross looking toffee on the counter and screaming and railing about how much money he paid for it and how crappy it is. And I look at the toffee and I know immediately what happened. Somebody had sold him that toffee from a bag of toffee that had gone bad, and so we had kind of put it to the side to get rid of it and to write it off. And somebody had pulled one out of there, or actually pulled like four of them out of there and sold them to him. And so after I got him, and I remember that the way that I was able to deal with this customer is that I just calmly listened to him. And that when he threw this stuff at me, and he was basically throwing products at me, when he threw these products at me, I looked at him, and I was like, wow, that's not right at all. Let's make this right. What would it take to make this right? And I remember that it seems as if I just like broke him, because he was expecting to go in there for a fight. He was all ready for a fight. And I'm like, dude, you're on your vacation. Why on earth would I fight with you? It's obvious that this is inferior product. I don't know who sold it to you. It was my boss who had sold it to him. So I couldn't exactly hold anybody accountable for this. I was like, so not only are we going to replace your product, I'm going to give you a pound of fudge for free as a way of saying I'm sorry. And so I grabbed four pieces of fudge from our not particularly high sellers list, and I grabbed another pound of toffee for the guy, and I put it up in a bag, and I said, I'm so sorry that this happened to you, and I hope that this extra pound of fudge helps make your vacation better. which, to us it wasn't a lot, but to him it was just, basically $60 worth of free product that I gave him that day. And I will never forget just the look on his face when he realized that I cared, when he realized that I listened to him, and he realized that I was actually going to do something about it. I wasn't going to be some corporate stone wall where I was like, well, our policy is this, that, or the other thing, or there's no returns on food items. No, 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 no. The guy was sold a bunch of crap, and he was sold by my boss, so I couldn't even hold anybody accountable for it because I wasn't about to tell my boss that she did something really silly. But yeah, the fact is that I mean this guy was screaming so loud that people were clearing out of the store, and by the end of it, he was smiling and laughing, and all that happened was that I listened to him. And so it is when somebody is escalated in our lives, when somebody's having a problem in our lives, we just listen to them. I've worked plenty of customer service in my life, and running my own businesses is an exercise in customer service. And yeah, and what happens is oftentimes, yeah, when somebody is really, really unhappy, we just listen. That's all most people leave. So it is our presence that leaves a positive impression. It is the fact that we genuinely care that leaves a positive impression. It's not our advice, it's not our lecture, it's not our pontification. It is our presence. And our presence is our physical presence, but our presence is also our mental presence. Have you ever been with somebody who was physically present with you, but they were lost in their phone? That they weren't really in the room because their attention was elsewhere. I know I've had that situation before. And so, one of the things or one of the ways that we care is simply by being there with them and really being present in the room. So we are caring people today. I am a caring person, and you are also caring. And I know you are because I cultivate relationships with people who care. I cultivate relationships with people whose very energy actually builds me up and makes my life better. I am a caring person, and you are caring too. And so let's leave a positive impression today. Let's leave a positive impression on the people who are around us. Let's make sure that when somebody is hurting, that we're just there with them. That we are that we practice being present in this now moment, because it is from this moment that we have a truly infinite power. We have the power to manifest any sort of change that we desire right now. And when we are here and when we are now, when we choose intentionally to be with people, even when they are suffering, even when they're hurting, especially when they're suffering or they're hurting, when we share their tears and share their laughter too, that experience leaves a positive impression on them, which makes them more interested in knowing how it is that we do life. Makes them more interested in understanding how it is that we can maintain such high energy even in the face of dealing with people who are who are hurting. I see that there's a whole lot of conversation about active listening, and active listening is definitely a skill. Active listening is definitely something that allows us to it's really a superpower, and it's a quiet superpower. It's a superpower that doesn't seem like we're doing anything at all, and yet our mere presence is something that really allows other people to receive us in a better way. So let's see. So Janet says her personal caring focus is working on holding a safe space for others to exist, training herself to listen to others so she can process their feelings. Her presence is there to love and support. Well, that's beautiful. That's a beautiful way of doing it, Jan, and I appreciate you for doing it. Shauna says, so grateful to everyone here who has been caring to me all this time. Of course, Shauna, we are caring for you. We love you and care about you and believe in you. I say it every morning at 9 a.m. that I love and care about you, and I do. And I love and care about all the people who surround me, all the people who help my life be better simply through their presence in it. Yeah. Frank says, and I appreciate when you offer that to me, as you have more than once. Being a good listener is a way of caring too. Well, absolutely, Frank, and I will continue to be a good listener. I'll continue to care no matter what it is that you're going through in life. Because let's be real, nobody gets out of life unscathed. We all accumulate some pain. We all accumulate some suffering in this world as we go through it. And that's just a natural part of maturing, natural part of being an adult. But that doesn't make it pleasant when it's happening. It's not pleasant. It's never pleasant when it's happening. And so when we have some other people to go through it with, and just to be able to commiserate with, people to vent to, people who will love us and care about us even if we're being grumpy and unpleasant, because Lord knows I'm grumpy and unpleasant sometimes, and sometimes I don't feel like I am. Sometimes I really don't feel like I'm suitable for being out there in the world. And yet, even though I feel that way, the fact is that oftentimes somebody will find me, and it's so funny because often, what they'll do is they'll find me, and then they will just repeat my own words right back to me when I'm having trouble maintaining my own state. When life is getting to me, the people who care about me will oftentimes just regurgitate my own words right back at me. And they're like, hey, I heard this thing on this show at 9 a.m. I'll be like, you're absolutely right. And I appreciate you for doing that. So I am caring today too. And you are caring also. Maria says that when somebody presents something to me, I always ask up front, do you want me to listen for understanding or listen for a response? That's a great way of putting it, Maria, because ultimately, so many of us are, sometimes, or ultimately, all of us are either looking for a response, or sometimes we're looking for advice. But how often are we listening just so that we can respond, not necessarily in order to understand? I have this situation plenty when I'm out and about in the world, where somebody will listen to me, but it was very obvious that they were really just trying to rebut whatever it was that I was saying. They did not try to understand my position. And I do it too. So I recognize that that's an area that I also need to grow. So we are caring people. Our presence leaves a positive impression. We are going to run into hundreds of people today, collectively. I know that we will. And so let's leave a positive impression on them. Let's leave this world a little bit better than how we found it. And so that we can leave it a better place for the next generation. And more importantly, leave it a better place for our future selves as we navigate through it. People do not always remember the words that we say, but they do remember the way that we make them feel. So let's make them feel good. My beautiful friends, it has been a wonderful wake-up call. Thank you so much for joining me this morning. And I will return tomorrow with another message, and we will see what else is going on in our worlds. Until we meet again, just your reminder, I love you. I care about you. I really do care about you. I am caring, and you are too. And we are going to care about the people who are around us today. Until we meet again, aloha from paradise.